Morning, I want to talk a little bit about the work of Ashley Willens. I introduced her work a little bit in our first topic on this, but she has a really great book. It's called Time Smart, and the kind of line that goes with it is how to reclaim your time and live a happier life. Who can't relate to that, right? And so, of course, I was drawn to that, and I really like her work. She also has a TED Talk, which I'll share in our Mindful Masterclass, and of course is on all sorts of podcasts. I'll share links to that. But one of some of the phrasing that she uses, and that I find a lot as I'm doing some of this research for us in our relationship with time, is using the phrase time poor or time poverty to describe our relationship with time, or time affluent. So, just kind of rating yourself in that, like, how do you generally feel in your relationship with time? Is there a belief system, or maybe even perhaps an identity around scarcity with time or abundance with time? And these come from all sorts of different places, right? They can come from our culture. They can come from training that we had as a family in our earlier life. They can come from practices that we create over and over and over again in our daily lives currently. But we all know these people. We are some of these people that have different relationships. So people who wake up in the morning with this sense of scarcity probably speaks to many of us now. This is a growing feeling as duties increase, there's a million things that add to this. Many of us having spent years now working at home and feeling like there's not a lot of separation between home and work. And so it's just all on all the time, and waking up with this feeling of scarcity. Already upon waking, I'm behind. Already upon waking, I haven't got enough done. My list is too big. Or if there's a sense of, those people who wake up in the morning with abundance of like, I'm so grateful. I have another gift of right now, of this moment, and how will I prioritize that? That mindset generally comes with training, with a real kind of retraining, because I think culturally, we are driven to more of an identity of scarcity in our relationship with time. And so when we have these belief systems, either scarcity or abundance, they lead to actions, our relationship, the way we are with time, the things we do with our time, that same amount of time that we're all given. So she talks about, as we do our time audits and we take a look at how we're spending our time, and we become aware that perhaps we're feeling time poor, that we might be operating from scarcity, that there are three things that we can do. And it's a mindful practice. It's a sit down and get curious about either finding time, funding time, or reframing time. And so let's talk about each of those just briefly. Again, in our masterclass, we'll dive a little bit deeper, but just for the sake of this topic and to send you off with something to get curious about today, if we fund time, that one's pretty straightforward, right? So I'm noticing that I spend 2.5 hours in the weekend running from, this store to that store to get the things that we need for the week to buy groceries. And so funding time might be like, you know what, I'm going to pay the extra money and have somebody from Instacart do that and deliver that bad boy right to my front door, if that's an option for you where you live. It might be hiring somebody to, bring meals, or to clean the house once a month, or to do something that buys you time. Finding time is the idea of we did this in our time audit, right? So where are the pockets where I can create some time? We can create some moments. We talked a little bit about this last week. For example, on Sundays, and I have an iPhone, I don't know if Androids do this, but on an iPhone on Sunday, I get a report that says, hey, you've spent 2.5 hours on the apps on your phone this week, and I'm like, ooh, I receive that right in the middle, right in the moment I'm saying like, I don't have time to meditate or work out, right? So it's these like, where are the pockets of time? Or another spot is, I have, Lisa says, thank goodness I have an Android. Another pocket where I might find time is on Wednesdays. My son has soccer for an hour. So there's a moment I could watch him for 15 minutes, go for a walk for 30 minutes, come back and watch him for 15 minutes, right? So where are the time periods that I can insert these things that are important to me? And then reframing time is something that we would do where we find like, I just simply can't change this or feel like I don't want to have the consequences of changing this. So this feeling of like, I have to go to work, right? Because I have to earn a paycheck is also like, well, you could not earn a paycheck, but we're prioritizing work because I like the feeling of having money. I like the feeling of being able to pay my rent. So reframing that a little bit, playing with wording. When we hear ourselves say things like, oh my gosh, I have so much I have to get done today, reframing that thought to, there's a lot that wants my attention today. How do I want to prioritize this? The idea of when we first wake up in the morning, there's not enough time, I'm already behind, taking that moment to just reframe that. I have this gift of this moment, or I only have this moment, or I have today, how do I want to prioritize it? How do I want to spend it? So playing with it. And although that seems laughable sometimes, how we interact with time matters. Because if I remind myself that ultimately I really am in choice, I really am in choice to show up here today and do this with you. I really am in choice to show up to that 9 a.m. meeting. I don't have to. There's consequences of that, of either of those choices. And so I'm choosing this other positive consequence, right? Reframing it. So playing with it, funding time, finding time, reframing time. So let's begin our practice. Go ahead and close your eyes, or you can take a soft gaze. Invite yourself to be in this moment. Find your breath and just be with this breath. What I mean by that is inhale and be fully aware that you are inhaling. Feel it, hear it, feel your body expand for that inhale. And now be present for your exhale. Notice it, hear it, feel it. Notice the response of your body. And repeating that. And then we're going to add a layer to this awareness. So as you're inhaling, you're going to give your mind something to focus on that anchors you back into this moment, anchors you back into this breath, into the only thing that needs to be done, which is to inhale. And so you're going to just say, I am breathing in, or inhaling. So you can choose the words that work for you. I am breathing in. Pause. I am breathing out. Pause. I am breathing in. Pause. I am breathing out. Pause. Just notice if your body responds to this. This just being here, just committing to this part of this breath. Notice if you feel any relaxation in your body, or if there's any tenseness. Notice if you sink a little heavier into your seat, into the floor. Notice the response of your brain, if it stays present with you, how often it jumps to distractions. We are under a belief that multitasking means we're getting more done. And yet what the research shows us over and over again is that multitasking actually leads to less getting done and adds to a higher level of stress. And so we can simply invite ourselves into this moment when our busy, trained mind says, oh, you could also do this. You could also work on this during this meeting. You could also answer emails quickly while you're on this walk. You can be thinking about this other thing while you're also trying to listen to this thing. Take this moment. Reframe. Remind yourself that there is just this moment. There is just this choice. I am breathing in. Pause. I am breathing out. Pause. As we took a few minutes to play and interact and think about our relationship with time, notice if there's any intentions that come up for you as we begin to close this practice. Any statements that resonated with you, any thoughts you want to take a moment to write down. We are practiced in our relationship with time. And we are also very trainable. And we can be our own best teachers. How do you want to be in your relationship with time? As we close this practice, find your breath. One last time. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes, noticing all that's around you. Thanks for being here, everyone. Thank you so much. I'll see you next Friday right here again.